Now we are going to look at Wisconsin card sorting test. It's a card sorting test that is used primarily to assess perseveration and abstract thinking. It tests frontal lobe function, so it is sensitive to frontal lobe dysfunction. It is considered to measure executive functions. As such, the WCST allows us to assess the participants' strategic planning, organized searching, and ability to utilize environmental feedback to shift cognitive sets, direct behavior toward achieving a goal, and regulate impulsive responding. The test can be applied to the individual's aged between 5 to 89. The test takes 15 to 30 minutes. When we look at the history of WCST, the test was firstly developed by Burke in 1948 and took its final form by Heaton in 1981. The test instructions and scoring procedures were standardized by Heaton in 1981 and published by him as a tool to be used in clinical settings. The test Turkish translation, adaptation, and standardization were developed in 2004 by Sibel Karateş. When we come to the administration part, as you can see, we have 4 boxes in front of the participant, or 4 piles, we can say, and we give 128 cards to the participant, which have some different kind of shapes and numbers and colors on them. Then we ask the participant to put the cards into these boxes or piles. The participant is asked to sort as many cards as possible to these piles based on some kind of sorting rule that is unknown by the participant. The researcher gives feedback after every time the participant sorts a card. For example, let's imagine the experimenter starts to use sorting by color rule, but doesn't tell this to the participant. So the participant have to use the feedback and sort the cards according to feedback. At some point, the sorting rule is changed by the experimenter and the participant is only provided information of whether sorting was correct or incorrect. Means after every time the participant puts a card into these piles, we say correct or incorrect, then the participant continues according to this feedback. At the beginning, the participant is expected to sort the cards according to the color of the card and the feedback is given accordingly. The subject is required to give 10 correct answers without any incorrect interruptions. After 10 correct answers are achieved, experimenter changed the rule for sorting to form without any explicit warning. After 10 correct answers are achieved for this rule as well, the experimenter changed the rule to number without warning, and then changed the rule back to color, form, and number respectively.
And let's look at some demographic variables. The first one is age. Research suggests that age has a significantly large effect on WCSC performance, accounting for 20% of the variance. Performance on WCST significantly increases from the age of 5 to 19. Between age of 20 and 50, performance is stable. Perseverative errors linked to frontal executive dysfunction has been observed after 60 years of age. Education level correlates only moderately with WCST performance, from lower to higher levels of education levels. WCST proves to be applicable to predict normative performance or competence in engagement with the daily activities and tasks in adults and children. Some research show that the test is useful in detection of behavioral and cognitive impairment, as well as in predicting adaptive functioning following strokes or brain traumas. Low performance on WCST may be linked with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or mood disorders. Poor performance on perseveration can be linked to executive impairment and predictive of dementia at its prodromal stage. WCST has been established to be useful in assessing executive function and its possible impairments. However, WCST is not at all precise in locating possible damage or lesions in the frontal lobe since its assessments are not specific. Schutz and others suggest that WCST can be thought of as a multifactorial test that examines distributed neural networks rather than as a test that solely focuses on frontal lobe function. And some critics suggest that some of the categories of scores in WCST are highly redundant. And let's look at some research that used WCST for data collection. Darby study and others wanted to see the effects of high and low anxiety on emotional Stroop test and shifting mental sets measured by Wisconsin card sorting test. According to attentional control theory, anxiety uses most of the source of the central executive, leaving no or less source for other tasks. The current study showed that there is a linear connection between anxiety and attentional bias, which causes high interference in shifting executive functions and inhibitory functions. Furthermore, the high anxiety group participants state that they made higher effort than the low anxiety group participants. Another study found that the person with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, who also have tic disorders when compared to the person with OCD without tic disorder, have also difficulty with set formation and set maintenance, besides with that of set shifting, which is known to be common in various forms of OCD. This study is preliminary in constructing subcategory of those with OCD and tic disorders based on distinct psychoneurological profile. And that's all. Thank you for listening.